what they've also put to us, and this is a little bit complicated, but they think it's really great. I should be clear. They think it's really great and we think it's not that great. They've said to us, here's how the sick leave currently works. Everyone at CBA gets 15 days and they get that after they've been there a year. Now, the minimum in Australia is 10. So 15 is pretty good for year-on-year sick leave. Then there's a few people in the other divisions who get 12 or 10, so not as much. And they've said to us, look, people leave the bank with heaps of sick leave, so, and then it just evaporates, they don't get paid out. So what we want to do is take all that 15, 10, 12, whatever the other divisions get, squish it all down to 12 and take those 3 days, pardon me, take those 3 days and turn them into leave you can use for anything. Okay, sounds interesting. And then they say, oh, but it doesn't accrue and you can only have it if you've used 4 weeks leave in the last year and if your balance is below 20 days. So we're not looking at exactly an equal trade here, but even then, for some people, there will be a lot of people who do get these 3 days just already. It'll just drop into their thing and they'll be like, oh yeah, don't use my sick leave and I'll use these. They're counting on that. It's not completely terrible, but what is terrible is taking sick leave days for this. So, you know, if they just came up with the idea of this conditional leave on their own, and I should say that ANZ have it, and they have it in that way, the bank just kind of said, we're doing this. We're going to give you extra leave if you do what we want in the following ways. If they did that, you know, I wouldn't love the idea, but that's up to them if they want to offer people extra leave to do a certain thing. What they're saying to us is people don't use their sick leave. We want to give them this other leave, but we want strings to be attached to it. What we know that that's going to mean is it's another way they can push you to take your leave, but in a really positive way, because it'll be you know, here's a carrot, basically. The stick is the directions they can give you, but they'd rather just kind of smiley, you know, encourage you to do so. That's all fine. They can encourage you, but it would be better. And we told them this in bargaining. We said, yeah, look, 3 days extra leave is 3 days extra leave. Why don't you just take the strings off it? And then the trade for the sick leave to this would be really fabulous. And people would probably be like, I'll take it. They absolutely not, they told us. So the conditions are important to them. And that's really what we want you to know about that is it doesn't sound, I'm sure there are heaps of people to whom that doesn't sound like a terrible, terrible idea, but it doesn't sound good. I think if I'm weighing up 2 or 3 days sick leave that I get to keep in my back pocket all the time with 3 days that evaporate all the time that I only get if I meet all their requirements, I'm probably going to take the 3 days sick leave, especially at the moment when we have heaps of members ringing us saying, what happens if I can't go to work? What happens if I need to self-isolate? What happens if my kid needs to self-isolate? I think the idea that people have those building up and CBA want to get rid of them because they don't get paid out, that's a fine idea, but I'd rather have them build up and not get them paid out when I leave the bank